It seems our planet is in crisis. Well, maybe not the planet. It will survive. But its ability to support our civilization is coming into question, especially one of the size we currently have and in the style to which we have currently become accustomed. Well, in the developed world at least. From increasing storms, wildfires and extinctions to the pollution of our water and the possible failure of our food systems, we are on the brink of a disaster of epic proportions, the type of which forms the basis of a film or a book and usually starts with a warning by a lone scientist or expert. Well, we are beyond the warnings of lone experts and scientists. In excess of 99% of experts in all fields of study admit things are running out of control and we need to do something about it. Now, this channel is not all about doom and gloom. We are a technologically advanced, intelligent species and we have all the knowledge and skills that we need to fix these problems. And, spoiler alert, we can do it and make it a better place for everyone, with access to energy, food and water cheaper than ever before and to a higher standard. In short, we can have our cake and eat it. However, there are quite a few invested concerns who seek to keep things as they are by lying to you and everyone else and whilst making obscene profits with no regard for the harm that they cause. Hi there, my name is Mark. I first studied climate change and the environment back in the early 1990s as the basis for my degree, and I've been talking about the need for change for decades. The difference now is that, well, before it always looked like a difficult and expensive job, but new evidence shows that in fact we could make all the changes we need and make everything cheaper as part of the bargain. I know that sounds crazy, but these could be the golden years. Let's deal with some myths and facts straight off the bat because we need to know where we stand. Okay, so when I first studied climate change back in the late 80s and early 90s, there were a lot of vocal skeptics and their argument was climate change is not happening. Well, first of all, we now know for an unadulterated fact that is total rubbish. Climate change is real. And more than that, we now know that energy companies have known this since the 1970s. All their data showed this, and they decided to ignore the findings and bury the data, not showing it to anyone because profit was more important. Then later on, we had the argument that, okay, climate change is happening, but it is natural, not man-made. This is another complete load of cobblers, as we can see from these charts here. We have seen half a degree Celsius rise in just the last 30 years. And we know that we caused that. Then we had the argument that carbon dioxide levels have been higher in the past. Well, talk about stating the damn obvious. The Earth has been around for billions of years. It has seen many permutations of climate gases, and believe me, you would not survive the vast majority of them. Carbon dioxide has not been at these levels for sustained periods for multiple millions of years. They have spiked due to extreme volcanic events in the past and other climate disasters, but again, you would not want to be living in those times. Then we had the argument that apparently climate change stopped 15 years ago. And well, that is just rubbish. Just look at this data here. The data does not support it in the slightest. If you believe that, you're misguided, malinformed, or just plain lying. Are we getting the picture yet? Whenever their position becomes completely untenable, they move the goalposts and change the argument, and each time it just gets more and more insane. Now the arguments are that it is too expensive to fix, and again, this is total rubbish. The costs of climate change now are almost beyond calculation, and they will get worse on a year-by-year basis. Not acting is the expensive alternative. Anyway, that's enough of history. What about the myth that clean energy is more expensive? Again, total and utter rubbish. Solar and wind, even with battery storage included, is by far the cheapest source of energy available, and that is even with the incorrect pricing of legacy energy types. And indeed, whilst they get more expensive with time, The new clean energy sources are only going to get cheaper. In fact, did you know the world currently subsidises fossil fuel production in excess of $500 billion each year, and that amounts to about $15 for every tonne of carbon dioxide they emit. What about the 1 in 5 deaths each year from degraded air quality? That is more than HIV, TB and malaria combined, because yes, it is not just carbon dioxide that is released, fine particulates, sulfur dioxides and trioxides and so much more. It also causes land degradation, water pollution, ocean acidification, and the footprint of the fossil industry is actually greater than the total amount of land we would need to cover in solar panels if we decided to produce 100% of what we need just from solar. Yep, you heard that right. We could purely just use sites already used by existing mines and oil wells and refineries and pipelines and still have land left over to give back to nature. They never mentioned that one, did they? The benefits of decarbonising our energy and other industries is not just about getting climate change under control. We can have cleaner air, cleaner water, cleaner food, more abundant energy, less animal cruelty, more wildlife and conservation, a better natural environment to enjoy, and we can have it quickly if we want it and take the right actions. We could even have it all in place by the 2030s if we make the right decisions. We can have a higher standard of living at a cheaper cost for the whole planet, not just the lucky few. The time to act is now, the time to take back our future is now, and the more people that realise how easy it can be, the quicker it will happen. Consumers control the markets, and voters enable the politicians. So if we want it, all we have to do is make the right decisions, because it is already happening. From the rise of Tesla to huge companies like Amazon, Walmart and others who have realised it is not only in their financial interest to make the change, but it will benefit them, their children and their grandchildren. Because if we sort out health and longevity treatments in the next 10 to 15 years, you might be thankful that we decided to clean up our act, as you may be seeing, well, a lot more of nature in the future than you realise. My next videos will look at the areas in more detail, so be sure to like this and subscribe so you don't miss them and YouTube knows to show this to others. Thanks for stopping by.